Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Discover the latest updates in the realms of cryptocurrency, politics, technology, and beyond. Stay informed with NewsSource Scrawlers edition from June 16, 2025 to June 23, 2025 for a comprehensive daily news digest. YouTube Music Charts, Global Top Songs from June 13 to June 19, 2025, feature the following hits. Die With a Smile, by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Shaky by Sanjay Rathod and G-Spark, APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, and Lail Perry by Yo-Yo Honey Singh and Samar Kaur. Spotify's weekly top songs global list for the period from Friday, June 13 to Thursday, June 19, 2025, includes the following tracks. Ordinary by Alex Warren, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, Back to Friends by Sombre, and Die With a Smile featuring Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. Discover the most popular games on Steam. This list highlights the leading titles in terms of sales and player engagement worldwide. Based on the top 100 revenue-generating products, here are the standout games from Tuesday, June 10, 2025, to Tuesday, June 17, 2025. Counter-Strike 2, PUBG, Battlegrounds, Stellar Blade, and Dune, Awakening. CISA's cybersecurity alerts and advisories. CISA releases cybersecurity advisory on Simple Help RMM vulnerability. Another contribution to the AI landscape. Google's Magenta Realtime. Magenta Realtime is an open-source model developed by Google for generating music. It shares the same research foundation and technology as MusicFX DJ and Lyria Realtime. This model allows for the ongoing creation of musical audio, which can be guided by a text prompt, an audio sample, or a combination of both, with varying weights. Its compact size facilitates deployment in settings with limited resources, such as live performances or using freely accessible collab TPUs. The United States launched airstrikes on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran, with President Trump describing the operation as a very successful move as he becomes involved in the escalating Iran-Israel conflict. Just 2 days prior, Trump expressed skepticism about Iran's request for a ceasefire, asserting that Israel is currently winning. Meanwhile, European leaders are advocating for diplomatic discussions, but Iran claims that the possibility of diplomacy has been destroyed. Turkish President Erdogan has warned that an Israel-Iran war is approaching a point of no return and has pledged to increase missile production. Trump has cautioned Iran to seek peace or risk further military actions. In the United States, the Supreme Court has granted permission for fuel companies to file lawsuits against California's stringent emission regulations. 20 days prior, in the U.S., oil companies were confronted with a wrongful death lawsuit linked to climate change, initiated by a U.S. woman in what is considered the first-ever wrongful death lawsuit against major oil corporations. A study has revealed that an area of forest equivalent in size to North America would be required to counteract the reserves held by big oil. Furthermore, another study has indicated that the color of the ocean is undergoing changes due to the effects of climate change. Vice President J.D. Vance criticized Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and mocked Senator Alex Padilla during his visit to Los Angeles, asserting that the National Guard remains essential in the city and mistakenly referring to Padilla as Jose Padilla. Meanwhile, Democrats are investigating the FBI's decision to handcuff Senator Padilla 10 days ago, after he was forcibly removed from a news conference by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem in Los Angeles. A federal judge has blocked Senator Marco Rubio's policy against transgender and non-binary individuals on passports, as well as a similar policy by former President Trump. Masa Son has proposed a $1 trillion artificial intelligence hub in the United States to both TSMC and the Trump team. According to Bloomberg, Apple executives have engaged in internal discussions regarding the potential acquisition of the AI startup Perplexity. Reuters has reported that DeepSeek has been assisting China's military efforts and has managed to bypass export controls, as stated by a U.S. official. NATO has decided to increase its defense spending target, but Spain has announced it will not participate, deeming NATO's expected 5% defense spending increase as unreasonable. South Korea is preparing to enter the global competition to develop 6th-generation fighter jets. Eutelsat has secured €1.35 billion to enhance its efforts in competing with European Starlink, as French President Macron emphasizes the need for Europe to regain its status as a space power. Canada is enhancing its efforts to safeguard its steel and aluminum workers and industries by implementing counter-tariffs on these products and keeping the $10 billion large enterprise tariff loan facility available. South Korea is preparing a $22 billion additional budget to address the economic impact of tariffs on its growth. In the United States, housing construction has decreased to its lowest level in 5 years due to the burden of tariffs on the sector. The United States has restarted issuing visas to international students, but it now requires them to provide access to their social media accounts. The new regulations mandate that foreign students unlock their social media profiles, and the U.S. Embassy is requesting every social media username used over the past 5 years on new visa applications. A study indicates that immigrant graduates earn higher salaries compared to their U.S.-born counterparts. Furthermore, former President Trump has stated that Harvard has acted appropriately, and an announcement regarding a potential deal may be forthcoming soon. Pakistan is planning to propose Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. The United States, mainland China, and Hong Kong are at the forefront of the competition for New Zealand's highly sought-after golden visas. Vladimir Putin has declared that all of Ukraine belongs to Russia, highlighting Russia's territorial aspirations in the region. A group supporting Israel has allegedly breached the Iranian cryptocurrency platform Nobatex, making off with more than $90 million. Furthermore, a cyber attack targeted Iran's bank SIPA, with responsibility claimed by a hacktivist group aligned with Israel. In reaction, the Iranian government has implemented several protective measures against potential cyber threats, including disconnecting the internet, banning officials from using internet-linked devices, and advising citizens to delete WhatsApp from their mobile devices. However, WhatsApp has denied Iran's claim that it is working with Israel for espionage activities. Scientists caution that the bright lights in casinos might be altering your brain, making you more inclined to take risks. A study by Microsoft reveals that there is an increasing trend of meetings being scheduled after 8 p.m. In Britain, a severe heatwave led to 4 days of turmoil, as the intense heat caused a surge in tempers throughout the nation. Research indicates that prohibiting plastic bags effectively reduces litter on shorelines. The rise in global temperatures is contributing to a significant surge in cases of obstructive sleep apnea. Satellites from the European Space Agency have successfully produced the first artificial total solar eclipse in the vastness of space. Chinese film studios are set to create AI-driven remakes of iconic kung fu movies featuring legendary actors like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li. Mark Zuckerberg is spearheading an aggressive AI talent acquisition campaign, offering substantial $100 million compensation packages. In a related development, Sam Altman revealed that Meta extended $100 million bonuses to employees at OpenAI. Despite these advancements, AI has shown minimal influence on the overall well-being of workers, even though there are self-reported concerns about job satisfaction. A recent study indicates that trust in artificial intelligence is most prevalent in China and low-income countries. Creators have expressed surprise at the revelation that Google utilizes YouTube content to train its AI systems. Furthermore, research suggests that social media has become the primary source of news for people in the United States. A recent study conducted by MIT indicates that the use of ChatGPT from the beginning of a student's learning process can alter brain function and diminish creativity. This research suggests that ChatGPT may be contributing to the erosion of critical thinking skills among students. A study by Anthropic reveals that some of the leading AI models have a blackmail rate of up to 96% when targeting executives. In a historical parallel, scientists once collected and preserved pre-nuclear steel, and now there is a similar trend of hoarding content that existed before the advent of AI. In a limited trial, individuals suffering from severe diabetes have been cured using a new medication. The FDA has given its approval to a potent HIV drug that demonstrated the ability to nearly eradicate the virus's spread in clinical trials. Trump's Environmental Protection Agency is planning to revisit the decision to ban asbestos, a substance known to cause cancer. U.S. Steel, which was once the largest company in the United States, is currently owned by foreign entities. The Wall Street Journal has reported that the Bank of New York Mellon has reached out to Northern Trust to explore the possibility of a merger. Morgan Stanley suggests that Beijing might utilize Hong Kong as a trial site for stablecoins linked to the yuan. The International Energy Agency, IEA, has predicted that China's demand for oil will reach its highest point sooner than previously anticipated. In a significant environmental move, Ireland has closed its final coal-fired power plant, making it the 15th nation in Europe to eliminate coal from its energy mix. A recent study indicates that the swift decline in cloud cover is playing a role in the occurrence of unprecedentedly high temperatures. The Russian leader has asserted that several nations are ready to supply Iran with nuclear weapons after the United States launched strikes. 5 days prior, Russia cautioned the U.S. against attacking Iran, highlighting the potential for a nuclear disaster. In the United States, officials have admitted their uncertainty regarding the current status of Iran's uranium reserves. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has stated that Israel is nearing its objectives in Iran, as the U.S. becomes more involved in the conflict between Israel and Iran by targeting 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. In the United States, the number of abortions continued to increase in 2024, largely due to the availability of telehealth prescriptions, according to a recent report. In the United Kingdom, members of Parliament have supported an assisted dying bill in a significant vote held in the House of Commons. The Supreme Court has upheld a law that prohibits gender-affirming care for minors, marking a setback for transgender rights, as it also approved a Tennessee ban on such care for children. Texas has discreetly halted funding for its state border wall project, which is only 8% completed. Trump's border security official has stated that immigration enforcement actions at farms and hotels will persist. Children are engaging in conflicts during anti-ICE protests and raids within the virtual world of Roblox. The governor of Texas has signed a law that prohibits individuals from China from purchasing real estate within the state. Former President Trump has expressed the opinion that the United States has an excessive number of holidays where people do not work, specifically mentioning Juneteenth. Whoopi Goldberg has made a statement comparing the challenges faced by Black Americans to those experienced by people in Iran. Iran is allegedly taking steps to shut down the Strait of Hormuz following U.S. military actions. According to Axios, senior Democrats were kept uninformed about the plans for the strike on Iran. Hegseth mentioned that congressional leaders were briefed on the U.S. attack on Iran only after the aircraft had safely returned. Sources indicate that Trump's strikes on Iran were based on intuition rather than concrete intelligence, as U.S. spy agencies evaluate that Iran has not yet made a decision regarding the development of a nuclear bomb. J.D. Vance asserts that the United States is engaged in conflict with Iran's nuclear ambitions rather than Iran itself, and he emphasizes that the U.S. has no interest in deploying ground troops in Iran. Vance also cautions against any retaliatory actions by Iran, while Donald Trump advocates for regime change to make Iran great again. The U.S. urges China to stop Iran from blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which could severely disrupt global oil supplies. Marco Rubio indicates that the U.S. is prepared to engage in discussions with Iran following recent strikes, but he strongly advises against Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz, describing it as a suicidal move. U.S. military actions against Iran's nuclear sites have prompted promises of retaliation from Hamas and the Houthis, while global leaders respond. It is reported that Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, has selected 3 possible successors as he remains concealed in a bunker. The United States has imposed sanctions on individuals and entities supplying Iran with defense equipment and facilitating Houthi oil trade. Harvard employed a researcher to investigate its connections to slavery. He claims the findings led to his dismissal. We discovered an excessive number of slaves. The New York Post indicates that Pelosi earned millions last year, with her investment portfolio surpassing the performance of every major hedge fund, achieving remarkable returns. Recent trademark filings hint that Trump might be planning to introduce a wireless phone brand, as the Trump Organization reveals a mobile plan and a $499 smartphone. The United States Supreme Court has affirmed a law that permits legal action against Palestinian authorities in connection with attacks. Israeli officials have issued a warning that Iran is allegedly taking control of security cameras to conduct espionage activities. El Al Airlines has announced plans to commence rescue flights departing from Israel beginning on Monday, following the receipt of 25,000 applications. Attorneys representing drug traffickers and individuals accused of sexual abuse are on the verge of being appointed as judges in Mexico, as highlighted in a report 3 weeks ago titled "An Ex-Convict and Cartel Lawyers Are Among Mexico's Judicial Candidates." Additionally, the U.S. Treasury has imposed sanctions on leaders of the Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generation under counterterrorism measures. Furthermore, cybercriminals have infiltrated Aflac, continuing their hacking campaign targeting the U.S. insurance sector. Britain's Reform Party has introduced the Britannia card aimed at attracting the wealthiest individuals back to the country. However, a tax expert has cautioned that Nigel Farage's proposed bonanza for billionaires could result in an annual cost of £34 billion for the UK. In Germany, a lawmaker has criticized the top-up benefit system, arguing that it promotes low wages. In the United States, the GOP is advocating for individuals up to the age of 64 to work in order to receive food stamps and Medicaid, though some experts believe this approach